Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwan, and today we're going to be talking about the Sisters of Battle. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. If you have any suggestions, please comment down below. And if you enjoy our content, thank our patrons on Patreon. It is because of them that we can do this. Link in the description if you guys want to support us. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Order of the Bloody Rose. The Order of the Bloody Rose is one of the major orders militants of the Sisters of Battle. It was founded in honor of Saint Mina. The Order of the Bloody Rose was not formally created until 2.5 Terran millennia after the founding of the Adeptus Sororitas in the middle of the 38th millennium. By that time, Mina was long dead. Mina had been one of the 5 companions of Alicia Dominica, the founder and patron of the Sisters of Battle. Mina was known as a dark and brooding sister, quick to anger and deadly in combat. She was martyred at the hands of a sanguinary chaos cult, the agents of which are said to have ambushed her at prayer in the small shrine on the Forge world of Hydrofer. None of her sisters were present, but it is said that when they came upon her body, the entire shrine was covered in the blood of her assailants, a score of at least 20, which lay dead around her own blood-drained form. It was Saint Mina's favorite flower, the red rose, which became the symbol of the order. It was displayed with prominent thorns, representing her nature. Behind the rose are always 2 knife blades, crossed and dripping with blood, symbolic of the circumstances of her martyrdom. The Order of the Bloody Rose first existed as a small group of sisters who provided a bodyguard for the abbess of the Adeptus Sororitas, and it was from this group that the new order was formed. The first recorded major action by the order occurred during the Theric Suppression, the purging of the blasphemous chaos cult Epicurean of the hive world of Therax. Their goal was to completely exterminate the chaos cult once and for all. Additional support during the suppression was provided to the sisters by a delegation of the Adeptus Ministorum. Led by the Inquisitor Lord Scallan and the battle group of Purgators, the Imperial forces were also composed of 3 separate Space Marine chapters, the Mentors, the Nova Marines, and the Subjugators, as well as regiments of the 808th Mordant Regiments of the Imperial Guard. The Order of the Bloody Rose was instrumental in scouring the hive world of all heretics. When the planet of Dimimar, the birth world of the reforming ecclesiarch Sebastian Thor, came under attack from the Eldari of the craft world Ulthwé, Seraphim Superior Imelda of the Order of the Bloody Rose retaliated, leading her squad of Seraphim in a daring attack to slay the enemy commander, the Farseer Karith. The Seraphim's pistols blasted a bloody path through a score of black-clad Eldari before the sisters were engulfed in a hurricane of psychic lightning. Though many of their companions fell, Imelda refused to yield and defiantly advanced through the Eldritch storm, slaying the Eldari Farseer with a single bolter round to the head. The last major recorded encounter of the Order of the Bloody Rose occurred in the infamous 13th Black Crusade. The Order sent in forces to the long-ignored trail of St. Evensir, which had been increasingly troubled by chaos-inspired uprisings and cultist activity linked to Gargarathuluth. Gargarathuluth is one of the greater demons of Tzeentch that has appeared in the material realm and taken on many names. He has been the Prince of 1,000 Faces, the Forger of Hells, the Whisperer in the Darkness, the God of the Last Hunt, and the 77th Mask. As the Inquisition would only discover in the late 41st millennium, Gargarathuluth's taint had befallen almost the entirety of the Trail of St. Evensir, a loose collection of planets on the western edge of the Segmentum Solar. The origin of the taint was identified to have been the feudal world of Sophano Secundus, a planet colonized in the wake of the Great Crusade, when the Emperor was already worshipped as a god. In the wake of the Emperor's entombment into the Golden Throne, a hence unknown figure, missionary Crucian of the Missionaria Galaxia, settled on Sophano Secundus and began to preach the teachings of the Lectitio Divinatus, Lorgar's ancient tome, or at least this was what the Administratum was led to believe. In truth, Crucian was an ancient of Gargarathuluth, a powerful psyker who over the following millennia fully corrupted the planet's society. With a cunning so typical of the followers of Tzeentch, Crucian changed his identity every few standard decades as to not alert the Inquisition as to his unnatural longevity, a tactic that proved so effective that Crucian's true identity would only be discovered by the investigation of Inquisitor Ligeia in the 41st millennium. As he had done on the planet of Sophanos Secundus, Gargarathuluth chose to infiltrate and corrupt imperial agencies, using the inner workings of the Imperium to spread his cult and the worship of Tzeentch. With Sophanos Secundus firmly under his control, Crucian chose one of his followers to serve as a simple administratum clerk on the neighboring world of Solshan 19, an agri-world that soon became the target of an orc invasion. The orcs slaughtered the planet's population, but Gargarathul's pawn, undoubtedly protected by his Dark Master, was miraculously spared. The clerk's name was Kelcanis Evensir, and within a few short standard years, he became the lauded Saint Evensir, from which the trail of Saint Evensir would eventually derive its name. Refusing to be reassigned to another post, Kelcanis Evensir became a popular figure for the hard-working and oppressed masses of the Imperium, for he had been a nobody elevated to the rank of true greatness. Although never officially canonized by the Adeptus Ministorum as an imperial saint, Evensir soon was referred to as Saint Evensir, his status seemingly confirmed by the many miracles he accomplished during his travels across the region. On the world of Traptos, a savage plague was decimating the population of the hive cities, and Saint Evensir spent 6 solar months in the quarantine zone, comforting the dying without contracting the disease. On the forge world of Magnos Amicron, Saint Evensir convinced the mutant slave caste that had taken up arms against the Mechanicus overlords to lay down their weapons and willingly return to work. Within a standard year, Evensir's fame led countless masses of believers to flock to him. Entire worlds petitioned the living saint to come to them and bless their cities and populations in exchange for erecting chapels, churches, monuments, museums, and cathedrals in his honor. Continent-spanning celebrations and masses were held in his honor, as in the wake of St. Evensir's pilgrimage, the very essence of the warp was made calm, and trade and travel brought prosperity to the trail of St. Evensir. When the unproclaimed saint eventually died, the Adeptus Ministorum buried him on the hive world of Volcanus Ultor, allowing time to slowly erode the memory of the saint that was not. Gargarathuluth had successfully manufactured his own imperial saint, a powerful relic he could corrupt and thus re-enter the material realm. Worse yet, on every world visited by St. Evensir, hidden chaos cults began to blossom, until Gargarathuluth's influence had spread to each and every world on the trail, and even into the Imperial Adepta, such as the Adeptus Administratum, and even the Inquisition itself. As the 13th Black Crusade drew near, Gargarathuluth buried his clutches deep within one of the Imperium's finest, Inquisitor Gothlic Rensar Velenov of the Ordo Malleus, the very agency charged with tracking and banishing the demonic servants of chaos. Valenov's corruption served 2 purposes. First, to steal an original edition of the famed Codicium Aeternum, the Ordo Malleus's repository of knowledge concerning the true names of those greater demons encountered by the Grey Knights and the Inquisition, and second, to convince the Grey Knights to deliver the final relic needed for Gargarathuluth's rebirth, the weapon that had slain him on Corion 9, the Sword of Mandalus. Having successfully manipulated the Imperium to aid him in his rebirth, Gargarathuluth showed his hand, letting the trail of Evensir descend into anarchy, as to better promote the Grey Knights and the Inquisition's intervention. Through a carefully orchestrated escalation of conflict, Gargarathuluth ensured that the Grey Knights would play the role he had chosen them to play, to deliver the final element that would allow him to return to real space. As Gargarathuluth's time of rebirth grew imminent, his puppet, Valenov, used the secrecy the Grey Knights shrouded themselves in to turn Volcanus Ultor's loyal Imperial defenders against those who sought to prevent the prince's return. Malinov was able to convince the Imperial Navy, the Imperial Guard, and even Canoness Ludmila of the Order of the Bloody Rose that the approaching Grey Knights were a force that had to be destroyed, forcing the members of the chapter, under the command of Justicar Alaric, to slay countless valiant Imperial soldiers in order to reach St. Evensir's grave. The resulting fraternal bloodshed further added to the potency of the chaotic ritual. In the end, Gargarathuluth's millennia-long scheme bore its fruit, as the Sword of Mandalus struck down the reanimated corpse of St. Evensir. The barrier between the Materium and the Immaterium was sufficiently weakened to allow Gargarathuluth's return. Saint Evensir disintegrated into a gigantic column of ever-mutating flesh, a towering monstrosity that surpassed even the mighty spires of Hive Superior in height. The column of flesh bore thousands and thousands of shrieking faces, giving credit to Gargarathuluth's surname as the Prince of 1,000 Faces. Gargarathuluth had won. Despite their best efforts and their great sacrifices, the Grey Knights had not been able to prevent Gargarathuluth's rebirth onto the material plane. Yet in the very moment of his great triumph, the demon was also brought low. Confident that his trap and the knowledge of his plans would drive any mortal insane, Gargarathuluth had thought he had disposed of Inquisitor Legaia, turning his fellow Inquisitors and the Grey Knights she had fought alongside against her. But Gargarathuluth had failed to consider Legaia's own gift as an Infokite. Infokites are incredibly rare breeds of psychers, especially in the extraction of information and the divination of meaning. Through a mere touch, these individuals can glean the significance of a text, read entire books and data slates in a matter of solar minutes, and almost instantly break the most complex ciphers and codes. Where other demons deal with countless lies, the source of Gargarathuluth's power is information and truth. And even as the Inquisitor Legaia was corrupted by the very knowledge she sought, she had extracted the most precious knowledge of all, Gargarathuluth's true name. When Gargarathuluth was at his weakest, just after the conclusion of the final ride, while his physical body had not yet fully materialized, Justikar Alaric recited the syllables of Gargarathuluth's true name, weakening the demon so that the mass bombardment of Imperial defenders might slay Gargarathuluth's material form. Brought low, Gargarathuluth was sent reeling back into the warp, his desire to destroy the Imperium from within thwarted once more, at least for now. In the wake of his second banishment, Gargarathuluth's true name was entered into the second tome of the Codicium Aeternum, giving future generations of Inquisitors and Grey Knights a considerable advantage should Gargarathuluth ever trouble the Imperium again. And those were 40 facts on the Order of the Bloody Rose. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, thank our patrons on Patreon. It is because of them that we can do this. Now, don't forget to check out our 40 facts on the Tzeentch demon by the name of Gargarathuluth. His full story is amazing, and it's over like 20 minutes long, so check that out on the channel. If you guys have suggestions for any other Order of the Sisters of Battle, please comment down below, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This was Gershwan with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.
Oh, I used to put my freedom first.